So, welcome to the second segment of IPL franchisees SWOT analysis. So far we have analyzed Mumbai Indians, Sunrisers Hyderabad, Royal Challengers Bangalore, and Delhi Capitals. And now we are going to analyze the Dad's Army, the Chennai Super Kings. So they couldn't perform as per the fans' expectations in the last season. Usually we see them qualifying, but last season they ended up coming at number 7. So, what do you see that a tactical change from Chennai Super Kings this year that will really work for them?
So again, nice to be on the show, Deep. So yes, Dad's Army. Important thing for Chennai has always been on all the seasons that they have performed good, except for that one season 2009, which was in South Africa, and one mini season in Dubai. They predominantly played all their games in Chennai, and that is how their makeup has been in the especially in the last 3 years. If you look at it, since the season for CSK began after their exile, they have been Dad's Army for the last 3 years as well. But the first season they won, the second season they narrowly sort of missed, and last season was pretty bad. If I want to do a comparative analysis, is because the way they put together their teams on the ground is especially suited to the Chennai sort of pitches. And this is, I think that is how they had been prepared for a while now. And it's going to be interesting this year how their combinations stack up. They have made some smart buys, and they definitely are going to miss, say, somebody like Shane Watson in his prime, not the Shane Watson of last year, but that sort of person who can give them that flexibility. And it's good that they are able to get Suresh Raina back, but we can go into those specifics when we probably look at batting and bowling separately. But uh, I think the Dad's Army is still, I should say, it's better for them to retire.
So, do you think that this season their biggest strength can be some out of the box thinking from MS Dhoni? So, their biggest concern last season was where should MS Dhoni bat? There were so many polls all over the social media whether Dhoni should bat at number 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have seen Dhoni batting at all those positions. But do you think that this how Dhoni is going to address this concern this season? Where will MS Dhoni bat? Because that will decide how other players will play around him.
Absolutely, but that also should. I mean, I think it's a two-point thing, right? It's not a straight answer only because how do the what are the resources at his disposal? So let's look at their batting. And if you want to, I'm just taking the top six at this point of time, or let's go with the potential six. Maybe we can have two six teams, but let's see. If they open with Rutu and say Rituraj Gaikwad because he's one of the informed guys, and Faf because Faf has been doing that and Dhoni sort of prefers experience. So if they go with that as a choice, they definitely have to play with, say, NGD. So there are two of foreign spots taken away. So who else will be there? The two others that he can fit in potentially. Maybe it's Bravo. Bravo can come into the picture. Maybe it's Sam Curran or maybe it's Moeen Ali. They have made some big moves for them. So if uh, in one of my 11s that I was able to put together, I had Rutu and Faf, if they are going to open with them, then Raina, Raidu, Dhoni, Ali, Jadeja to being the top seven. If that could be an option. But in the alternate 11, I removed Faf from opening and get in Robin Uthappa to open. Then that give you a chance to introduce somebody like Sam Curran into the mix, that can either add depth to their batting, or he can be used as a floater. If they lose a quick wicket, or say quick couple of wickets at the beginning, Sam Curran can be promoted, or he can even replace Ambati Raidu, depending upon. They can even play one of Ambati Raidu and Raina, depending upon who is in form, and they can tweak that aspect as well. In both these cases, I was more leaning towards Dhoni coming in at number five, because that will give them, all said and done, Dhoni is a luxury in any team. So he gives that calmness, and if he's not playing somebody like Faf at the top, and then they definitely need that solidity in the middle order, and that will give the freedom for people like Robin, Ruturaj, and anybody who's coming above to go express themselves a little bit more easily, and it will give solidity to their number five, six, seven. Because if you take Dhoni out of that, who is going to be their finisher? Who is going to give them that? So they need Dhoni for that. In my opinion, I strongly believe Dhoni should be their number five.
Right. So coming to their weaknesses, so they have brilliant players who can bat from 6 to 8. So they usually bat for Chennai at 6 to 8, and by the time they come to bat, there are very few deliveries left for them. And those players are Ravindra Jadeja, Sam Curran, Moin Ali, Dwayne Bravo, Shardul Thakur. So do you think that Chennai should find a way to utilize these players' utility, because this time they have also acquired Krishnappa Gautam, who can also tonk the ball. But if these kind of players who can hit the ball straight away from the very first ball that they face, if they don't get enough balls to play, so once again they will face a similar kind of situation that they were in last season. Because if we compare last time's 11 and this time's 11, we won't find much of a difference. Only for Watson we have Suresh Raina. Otherwise, the top four
Pretty
or
much the
top
same.
five is exactly the same.
Absolutely. I mean, the people here are picking themselves automatically. So I still don't see in my alternate 11, Gautam was still a force fit, and I didn't know where to fit him. I mean, I had to, just because they paid so much dollars for him, I forced him into, or crores, I forced him into the 11, but I didn't really see a value of getting Gautam. So let's take this example. Let's see who the bowlers are going to be. And depending, see, because of the pitches they're going to play, they have to play Ngidi, they have to pay Thakur. Lord Shardul
Right.
is going to pick himself. Chahar is definitely still a very good bowler opener for them in the power play. So those three fast bowlers pick themselves. Where does that leave somebody? So what? Now they have three more, maybe two or three more bowling options that they need to fill in. So who do they fill that with? They definitely get Jaddu. Jaddu is their fourth bowler, and who is going to finish their fifth and sixth bowler duties. So it has to be somebody like Ali or Sam Curran who has to give them that 2 or 4 to 8 overs or 6 overs at least in every game. And for that, both Ali and Jaddu can give, or Ali, sorry, not Ali, Jaddu, sorry, Karan and Ali, or Krishnappa Gautam or Ali or Karan. Between those three people, they will have to eke out 6 overs. In when they come to pitches like Delhi, there is a strong case for somebody like Imran Tahir to come in, take out somebody like Faf out, and maybe they anyway have, they bat all the way up to Shardul any which ways. I mean, everybody can plonk the ball, so they can replace somebody like Faf with Imran Tahir to strengthen the spin department. So they have Jadeja, they could have Moin Ali, and then they can have Imran Tahir. So three different types of spinners, and all three can easily find a spot in the 11. Or if they're not playing Moin Ali, and if they want somebody else, then they can still fit in Krishna Pagautam for that particular type of pitches. But otherwise, I don't see, in my 11 at least, I don't see Krishna Pagautam getting in.
Right. So depending on the kind of pitches that they are playing this year, so do you see that there is opportunity for someone like Harishankar Reddy to be included in the 11?
Unless the first, if they're failing in their first 7 games, if this teams that we mentioned, if they fail badly, knowing the past record, last year Ruturaj got his chances at the back end of the IPL, in spite of he being more prominent domestic player than Harishankar Reddy. So Dhoni would, I believe, he will go with the experience at the outset, depending upon how their first 5 matches are in Bombay, and depending on how they pan out, I believe the others will get a look in. But I don't see any changes, at least for the first set of games.
Right. So now talking about opportunities. So I'll give you four options. So among these four, you have to pick one opening combination that will surprise you the most. So the first option is MS Dhoni opening with Suresh Raina. Second option is Robin Uthappa opening with Cheteshwar Pujara. Third option is Krishnappa Gautam opening with Moin Ali. And fourth option is Sam Curran opening with Faf du Plessis.
The fourth option is possible, so it's not going to surprise me. The first option will blow me actually. So that will be an option which I cannot imagine. I wouldn't have imagined myself. So that would be really surprising. Equally, that one would definitely rank one and followed very closely with Pujara. I mean, Robin Uthappa, everybody can expect, but Pujara walking out with Robin Uthappa is going to be equally surprising. But the more I don't see Raina and Dhoni, I wouldn't imagine them opening.
Right, right. So when we talk about their strengths, so they have everything that you can ask for in a squad. If you want to find youngsters, exciting youngsters are there. If you want to find some off spinners, yes, amazing talent is there. If you want to find leg spinners, yes, Imran Tahir, Karan Sharma, they are there. If you want to find Indian pace bowlers, they are there. If you want to find experienced batsmen, they are there. But what's the problem and what is the issue with Chennai Super Kings this season?
My opinion is not just this season, but the way they pace their innings over the last 2 3 seasons, it's been consistent. If you check the stats out, they start conservatively around sevenish sort of run rate in the first 8 9 overs, and then towards the later end of it, they go I think around 9 or 10ish. Uh, Primarily because they have that sort of player. I mean, their explosiveness came only at the lower part of the innings with Raina taking off. Raina can take off at the beginning itself, but Dhoni, Jadeja, or in one particular match, Kedar Jadhav, and that was early, I think, 2 years back. But the bits and pieces players again contributed. That is how they had set up with Faf and Shane Watson, giving them a pretty steady start. They are not, even though they can be, Shane Watson could be an explosive player, but the way they had gone about pacing their innings was like this. It's perfect template for a Chennai pitch, where the totals are expected to be around 150-ish. 170 is a winning total, and you can sort of do that conservatively. But look at where they are playing this year. 11 or 12 out of 14 games are in high scoring areas. So Bombay, Ahmedabad, and Kolkata. I think they have 2 or 3 games in Delhi. Barring that, they are not playing in any slow pitches. So they need somebody to take them off blocks quickly. So have they addressed that in this year's um, auction? I don't think so. They have made some smart additions. They've gone for some informed players like Robin Uthappa, but they are not the explosive sort of variety. But Robin Uthappa in the domestic circuit, he did prove to be an explosive opener for Kerala. So I hope he continues that form for them. But that's going to be their challenge. Whom do they open with? Faf and Robin? Faf or Ruturaj? Or Ruturaj and Robin? And by dropping, or my left field choice for that is an explosive left-hander in Sam Curran. But I don't see how he fits in that combination. But that's an interesting. They can consider Sam Curran to be that to give them the impetus at the beginning in the first 6 overs. But that is where they're going to struggle this year. And last year's season, if you look at it, Dhoni had come into last season without match practice
Right.
and he failed. He had a porous season. It's not that easy. And I don't know how Raina's season is going to turn out this year. Raina is also coming off from a long layoff. Ambati Raidu has, I don't know if he played Vijay Hazare and Syed Mustaq. I did not recollect if he has, then pardon my judgment there. But I think even Ambati Raidu is also coming off it from a long layoff. So three of their top six enforcers are somebody who are not in form. And that is going to be a big concern, and it should be a big concern for them.
Right. So probably coming to the last segment. So who will score the most runs and who will pick highest wickets for Chennai Super Kings this season?
I will go with the Shardul season has been pretty good. He's somebody who is bold, modeled himself as a good middle overs and a lower death over bowler this year for India. And if he continues the same form, and if Chennai has to have a big season, Shardul needs to come good because Deepak Chahar has lost this team in between, so they will be banking heavily on NGD and Shardul. And if Shardul can continue the form that he has been in, it will be a very good thing for CSK. So and Shardul is a confidence player. So I would not bet against him. The Definitely Shardul, and the other usual suspect is Jadeja, because in my opinion these two players will end up playing all their games, so they have more chances of bowling more overs than anybody else, so automatically getting little more chances of getting more wickets. So Shardul and Jadeja, I'll go with Shardul. And runs, uh, I am looking for Robin Uthappa or Ruturaj, depending upon who is going to be their first choice opener to start off with, and hopefully they continue. And they, it will be one of them, and they're both coming off strong domestic seasons, and they are people in form. And I expect them to have a good role. But having said that, I am hoping that they get good contributions from Raina, Raidu, and Dhoni as well. But since the question was more about who will get the maximum runs, I'll go with Rutu and Robin.
Right. So who will be the most valuable player for Chennai this season?
If Chennai qualify for playoff, they have to. I Let me go ahead and make a big comment saying that it has to be Dhoni for them this year. Not most valuable player, not just in terms of the runs he scores, but the shrewd tactic, shrewdity that he brings to the table. If they do well, that will be at the fore this year. So I cannot look beyond Dhoni, especially this season, with people like Raina, and himself coming a little out of touch. So he has to galvanize this team and play it very shrewdly. So my MVP for Chennai CSK is going to be Dhoni.
Right. So Dhoni is going to lead the side by example. So
Sure.
for Chennai, who is going to be the emerging player? Because we won't find any any prominent name in this side who will feature in the first choice 11 of MS Dhoni, a young player.
So I'll go with, I don't know if qualifies to be an emerging player having played the last season of IPL. I don't know how that metrics play out. So I still want to see Ruturaj develop into the product that he is, and so I'll be looking forward for Ruturaj for sure.
Right. So
Others, uh, if Hari gets a chance and if he can replicate that off stump out of Dhoni that he just did that in, I saw a YouTube video of his. So if he gets a chance, I'm pretty much interested to see. But for that, Thakur or Deepak need to fail miserably, and if they fail, they are already out of playoffs.
right. So that's a bold statement. Probably my next question was, where do you see Chennai finishing this season?
They will be struggling to qualify for playoffs. I don't see them qualifying for playoffs.
Right, right, right. So so far out of the five teams, so we have picked two. So let's see out of the remaining three, which two we are going to pick.
Let's revisit all the four once we finish all eight. But yes, we picked two so far, whom I'm pretty confident on. Let's see
Mumbai,
in the
Mumbai and Delhi.
yes.
So let's see, let's see.